Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Friday, October 17th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The high in Riverside today is 77.3 degrees, with a low of 57.9, so expect a comfortable fall day with mild breezes, perfect for getting outside without overheating. Coming up, we'll examine the reasons behind John Bolton's espionage charges and what they mean for national security discussions. We'll also look into how the California State University system is tapping an interest-free loan from the state to cover employee bonuses amid budget debates. Plus, other stories on local impacts and beyond. All this and more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. Good morning, everyone. We start today with a bombshell in the world of national security. Former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton has been indicted on serious federal charges related to mishandling classified information. Joining me now to break this down is our justice correspondent, Ethan. Ethan, this comes hot off the press from yesterday. What are the key details of the indictment?
Absolutely, Grace. Yesterday, October 16th, 2025, a federal grand jury in the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland in Greenbelt handed down a 26-page indictment against the 76-year-old Bolton. According to reporting from NBC News, it includes 18 criminal counts under the Espionage Act, with 8 for unlawfully transmitting national defense information and 10 for retaining it. Each count could mean up to 10 years in prison, so theoretically over 180 years if convicted on all, but federal guidelines would slash that down quite a bit.
Those are heavy accusations, Ethan. The Espionage Act, for folks who might not be familiar, that's the law from World War I era aimed at protecting secrets, right? What exactly is he accused of doing with these materials?
Spot on, Grace. It is that old but still potent law. Prosecutors from the Department of Justice's National Security Division say Bolton abused his position by sharing over 1,000 pages of highly sensitive classified stuff, up to top-secret/sensitive compartmented information level, which is basically the highest security clearance imaginable, like a vault within a vault. He allegedly sent this to 2 unauthorized relatives, his wife and daughter per media reports, using personal email and messaging apps. BBC News details how this happened through non-governmental accounts on AOL and Google, including a group chat he started in 2018 called "For Diary in the Future!" He even sent a 25-page document with a note saying, "None of which we talk about!" And later, "Stuff coming to cheer you up!" With a 20-page file attached. CBS News notes these were diary-like entries from his 45-year career, but focused on his White House days from April 2018 to September 2019, stored on personal devices at his Bethesda, Maryland home and D.C. office.
Diary-like entries shared casually? That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Any specifics on what kind of secrets were involved?
It is a leaky situation, no pun intended on the Espionage Act. The indictment, as echoed by NBC News, covers intelligence briefings, military discussions with foreign leaders, and products like warnings of missile launches by adversaries, U.S. covert actions, and what enemies knew about planned attacks on us. Think details on foreign hacks or weapons of mass destruction strategies. Grace, this is not everyday office memos. It is the crown jewels of U.S. intel that could tip the scales in global power plays.
And how did investigators catch wind of all this? I hear there was a cyber twist.
Yes, a pivotal hack in 2021. According to all 3 major outlets, NBC News, BBC News, and CBS News, Iranian-linked hackers breached Bolton's AOL email between September 2019 and July 2021. They accessed those diary entries and even sent a threatening email saying, "I do not think you would be interested in the FBI being aware of the leaked content of John's email," calling it the biggest scandal since Hillary's emails were leaked. Bolton's team notified the FBI in July 2021, but prosecutors claim he downplayed the classified content and sharing. This breach, per NBC News, risked exposing our sources and methods to Iran, giving the FBI probable cause for August 2025 raids that found printouts labeled confidential and secret.
This did not come out of nowhere. Walk us through the investigation's long road.
It has been a marathon, Grace. It kicked off with his 2020 memoir, The Room Where It Happened, which slammed Trump on Ukraine aid and impeachment stuff, leading to a blocked publication attempt but no charges then. The FBI grilled him 8 times from October 2020 to June 2025. Under Biden, probes closed without indictment, but CBS News reports U.S. intel uncovered more in 2022, reopening it. August 2025 searches yielded digital proof of willful mishandling, overwriting old declinations. A GPAM Bondi's DOJ cited new evidence like the hack risks, despite some internal pushback on rushing it.
Reactions are firing on all cylinders. What is Trump saying?
Polarized as expected. President Trump, at a White House event per NBC News, BBC News, and CBS News, called Bolton a bad guy and lowlife who should be in jail, echoing his 2020 book rage, though the indictment says none of this hit the published pages. AG Bondi stated, "There is one tier of justice for all Americans. No one is above the law." FBI Director Kash Patel praised the meticulous work by career pros on those personal account violations.
Bolton is not taking this lying down, I bet.
Not at all. In a statement quoted by BBC News and Al Jazeera, he denied wrongdoing, calling it politically motivated retribution by Trump, quoting Stalin, "You show me the man, and I'll show you the crime." His lawyer Abe Lowell, per NBC News and The Washington Post, says the diaries were unclassified family shares known to the FBI since 2021, and this is intimidation.
This fits a pattern of charging Trump critics. Comey, James, now Bolton. Thoughts?
Indeed, the third in weeks. NBC News and The Guardian note Comey's September charges for false statements, pleading not guilty, and James's October bank fraud case over a mortgage, after her $464 million Trump judgment. Trump's Truth Social urged prosecuting them, fueling retribution claims. Parallels Trump's dismissed classified docs case and Biden's declined one highlight the uneven justice field.
What is next for Bolton today?
As of this morning, October 17, 2025, he is expected to surrender and appear for an initial hearing before Judge Theodore D. Chuang per NBC News and CBS News. Details on bail or pleas are pending, but Espionage Act cases drag with Classified Information Procedures Act reviews, often years out.
Phew, a real national security soap opera. Thanks for unpacking this, Ethan.
My pleasure, Grace.
Welcome back to our morning broadcast. In education news today, the California State University system is making headlines with a clever financial twist to support its hardworking faculty and staff. Joining me now is our education reporter, Chloe, to break down this story of loans and bonuses amid a budget bind. Chloe, good morning. What exactly is happening with this $144 million deal?
Good morning, Grace. You're right, it's a real boon for the troops, pun intended, as the CSU system steps up to borrow interest-free funds from the state. According to reporting from LAist and calstate.edu, the CSU, which educates over 460,000 students across 23 campuses, announced on October 16th that it's requesting this loan to fund one-time bonuses for eligible faculty, staff, and even executives. Think of it as a 3% pay bump in bonus form, helping bridge a temporary funding gap without the sting of interest.
That sounds like a smart move, but can you explain the budget crisis driving this for folks tuning in? What's the big picture here?
Absolutely, Grace. The CSU has been wrestling with a whopping $2.3 billion deficit, as reported in July 2025 by sources like StateHornet.com and GoldenGatExpress.org. This ballooned since 2023 due to underfunding, dropping enrollment, and skyrocketing costs. The state was set to slash 3%, or about $144 million, from the CSU's general fund for the 2025-26 fiscal year. But lawmakers deferred that cut to 2026-27, turning it into this zero-interest loan instead. As outlined in the 2025 California Budget Act, per ca.gov, it lets CSU borrow the exact amount, precisely $143.8 million in some docs, to keep operations humming without immediate cuts to classes or jobs.
Deferred cuts and loans? It's like kicking the can down the road. How will this money actually reach employees, and what's the timeline?
Spot on, Grace. It's a deferral that's more bridge than blockade. CSU officials, including Interim Chief Financial Officer Patrick Lenz, told iNewsSource.org and MustangNews.net that after talks with Chancellor Mildred Garcia and the Board of Trustees, they're using the full loan for bonuses. For many, it's like a 3% aggregate compensation boost. Specifics vary, like for Unit 4 academic support folks from APC1002.org, it could be 5% of monthly salary at 5-year anniversaries times 12 months. Chancellor Garcia emailed all employees today, October 17th, per calstate.edu, saying funds should disperse in 60 days or less. No drawdown yet, but approvals pending state oversight.
And repayment? I hear July 1st, 2026 is key. How far off is that, and what risks does it pose?
Yes, official docs from the Budget Act and CSU agendas, as per smdailyjournal.com and kpbs.org, set repayment for July 1st, 2026. That's about 257 days from now. Zero interest means no extra cost, but it's tied to restoring the funds then. Even so, CSU projects a $43 million shortfall post-repayment. The state plans just $101 million in augmentation for 2026-27, short of Governor Newsom's $250 million promise from a deferred compact per collegecampaign.org. That compact's 5% base increase of $252 million is pushed to 2027-28. California's own $12 billion deficit is forcing these tough choices, as iNewsSource.org notes, potentially leaving CSU with an unfunded liability if restoration flops.
This amid ongoing strains since 2023, like hiring freezes and course cuts. How vital is CSU to California, and what's the reaction?
Crucial, Grace. CSU grants 48% of the state's bachelor's degrees, especially for first-gen and low-income students, per csulb.edu and lostcoastoutpost.com. The deficit's already axed hundreds of degrees and lecturers. Unions like California Faculty Association and CSUEU from csueu.org call the bonuses a morale win but stress it's no fix for stagnant wages. Critics say it's a band-aid on a budget bleed, per goldengatexpress.org, with risks of layoffs if funds don't return. Proponents see it as preserving stability for students at places like San Francisco State.
Fascinating how this loan loans a hand without long-term loans on the system. Chloe, thanks for unpacking this complex story so clearly.
My pleasure, Grace.
Here are some other headlines. Global markets took a bank shot lower as investor jitters ricocheted from Wall Street to world bourses. Fears over the health of U.S. regional lenders flared after Zions Bancorp and Western Alliance disclosed bad loan troubles and alleged fraud, sending their shares into the red and confidence into retreat. The fallout clipped major U.S. indices Thursday, the S&P 500 off 0.6%, the Dow down 0.7%, and the sell-off circled the globe, with London's FTSE 100 and Germany's DAX sliding, while Japan's Nikkei 225 and Hong Kong's Hang Seng stumbled in Asia. With memories of 2023's banking blues back on replay, investors sought a golden parachute, literally, as gold prices hit record highs. Central banks now face a policy tightrope if credit cracks widen. In Washington, a visa fee fight is testing the bounds of executive reach. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has sued to block a new $100,000 charge per H-1B visa, calling the administration's move plainly unlawful and beyond statutory authority. The nation's largest business lobby argues the price tag would turn a talent pipeline into a toll road, especially for startups and small and mid-sized firms. A White House spokeswoman defended the fee as a lawful, incremental reform to a system long in need of tune-up. The lawsuit seeks to stop the surcharge before it prices out specialized hiring, a high-stakes clash pitting corporate hiring needs against hardball policy. A solar storm is brewing in the courts. More than 20 states are suing over the cancellation of the $7 billion Solar for All program, aimed at lighting up low-income communities with clean energy. The states argue the Environmental Protection Agency's rescission flouted federal law and the separation of powers by yanking funds Congress had already greenlit and, in many cases, awarded. Filed in federal court in Washington state and the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, the suits seek to restore the money and recoup damages. The EPA, led by Administrator Lee Zeldin, branded the program a boondoggle. The states say that's a misread of the law and a blackout for affordable power when bills are sky high. In Madagascar, a coup has reset the political compass. Army Colonel Michael Randrianarina was sworn in as president 3 days after leading a military takeover that ousted Andry Rajoelina. The United Nations condemned the move as an unconstitutional power grab, and the African Union suspended Madagascar. The putsch followed youth-fueled Gen Z Madagascar protests over poverty, corruption, and failing services. Randrianarina, who commands the elite CAPSAT unit, says a military-led committee will steer a transitional government for up to 2 years before elections. With international recognition withheld and humanitarian strains already severe, the island nation faces a rocky road from barracks to ballot box. And in New York City, a funding fight tests the bounds of Title IX. The nation's largest school system is suing the U.S. Education Department after $47 million for 19 magnet schools was cut over policies allowing transgender students to use facilities and join teams aligned with their gender identity. The city argues the funds were pulled illegally without required notice or hearing. Federal officials contend the policies violate sex discrimination law. The case could set a nationwide precedent on civil rights and school funding, with districts from Chicago to Fairfax warned of similar consequences. In short, class is in session for the courts. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 4.0, Gemini Pro 2.5, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.